Hello. All right, update on the 18 unit. Whew, all right, there has been some back and forth. We've been negotiating with the seller because, as I had discussed in a previous video, the property was not as advertised. And there's been a lot of back and forth. The seller is not being as flexible as we were hoping, but we're still getting, so we've agreed to a $55,000 credit. So we'll either put that towards closing costs or down payment or however we want to use it. And they've agreed to, we've sent them a list of things we want to repaired, which were mostly safety things. Like a lot of them were just kind of small things, but some of the porches, the railings are no longer connected to the side of the building. What were some other ones? I'm trying to remember. Smoke detectors. There's a lot of smoke detectors that were not there. There's a couple, one spot that had a water leak, fixing the roof. So the drone pictures, you can see spots where they need to patch it. So if they can patch it and we can get a couple more years out of it, then we can kind of push that off for another couple years before we have to replace the roof. So it was a list of things, and they've agreed to that. And the other thing is a master lease for a few of the units. So there's 6 units that are being either being evicted or they're trying to get to leave. So those are tenants that they've been dealing with. So we're going to do a master lease. So those 6 units we will get paid for from that master lease. And as soon as they can get them vacant, then we'll take them over. So, the not ideal is right when we close, we could potentially have, we definitely have 3 units. There's 3 units that are currently vacant. There could be another 3 with a potential of another 6, all vacant within, potentially when we close, but within a month of us closing. So by the end of January. Not ideal, but the bright side of that is we will be able to get them fixed up, cleaned up, and rented and at market rent quicker. So it's still going to cost us more up front than we had planned on. And as I had said, the units need more work. And some of them, it's hard to know because the kitchens are the big thing. So I said this in another video, all the flooring is good. Bathrooms, tile showers, all of those are good. Tubs, all good. Don't need to replace any of those. A couple bathroom vanities we might need to replace. They all need to be painted. They all need a deep clean. And the kitchens, it's hard to tell because most of the kitchens had so much crap in there and they're just so dirty. It's hard to know, okay, we can be able to easily clean these up and repair things. Or once everyone's junk is out of them, are they going to be too busted up? Because they're small kitchens. So the amount of time that it would take to go in and fix doors, repair the drawers and the pullouts, and then you're going to have different colored doors and drawers and then needing to paint them. We have a feeling it's going to be at the point where it's, you know what, I'd rather spend an extra $1,500 a unit and have brand new kitchens in there and countertops than fix these old, they're not new cabinets. So more than likely we're going to end up replacing a lot of the kitchens. And again, not ideal, not what we originally planned on, but it'll be nice to know, okay, majority of these are what we expected. And they're fairly new kitchens that we won't have to worry about for a while. So there's 2 units that have carpet, and one of those units, I think the tenant's moving out. The other one, the tenant's been there for a long time. And I don't know if they intend on moving or what will happen with that. But the rest of them all have the LVP flooring. So we didn't want them to do any of the kitchens because I basically just don't trust that they are going to go and do what we would want into the quality that we're going to want. This is a C-class property, so we're not going to be going in there and putting custom super nice cabinets, but we did want to make sure that it was decent and that they were still nice. So we were not liking just kind of the vibe of the seller. So on certain things we just didn't trust and didn't want them to do. So we try to stick to things that were safety issues, active leaks. There's a few sinks that have water leaks, so we want those to get fixed. So that was a couple windows that have broken locks and things. So that was what we are aiming towards. We'll be the ones to do the kitchens. Some of the painting we want to do because we want to just freshen it up some, add a little bit of color. It's just just kind of your typical, just dull, white, cream colored place. So we would like to add a little color, freshen it up a little bit. So we are waiting for the final. The attorneys are going back and forth, kind of finalizing all the little details of the what we agreed upon. So we are waiting to get that back. But as far as we're concerned, like, it's a go. We're going to go forward with it, and it should still be a good deal. So our worst case, things may not go as planned. And once the place is stabilized, then we'll just have to look and see, like, okay, where are we at? How is this operating? How much money are we making? Where are we at with our return? And is this a property we want to keep, or do we want to sell it? Our plan is always to keep it. But if things don't go well and everything goes wrong in this project, it might be something that's like, you know what, this will just be better to sell. But we could get done and be like, hell yeah, this project was a headache the first year, but it is kicking ass. And we are so happy that everything went well. So obviously those things we won't know, like, what are things going to rent for? And, obviously we know the range of what they are, and hoping that it's going to be on the higher end, mid to higher end of that. But until you actually start to get things, and things, that's months away till we start getting things rented. So how that adjusts, and the refinance. The refinance is going to be a big part. So we're buying this with a bridge loan. So a bridge loan is a temporary loan that basically is there to help you get your property stabilized, get it rehabbed, and it's not permanent. So they're normally 6, 12, maybe 18 months, 2 years, pending. Larger properties or bridge loans could be 2 or 3 years. But for this size asset, we have a 12-month bridge loan, and it is a higher interest rate. This one is 1% a month, so 12%, 1 point for origination, which isn't too bad. And we have no prepayment penalty. So we have to close by the end of the year for taxes. And a lot of the lenders just told us straight up, we wouldn't be able to do that. If that is a requirement, we will not be a good fit for you, which I appreciate the honesty, because I would have been super pissed if we went with a lender that was like, yeah, we can close. And then we get close and they're like, oh, actually, no, we can't. So talking to most of the lenders, there were some that said they could pull it off. But that is my biggest concern, is not closing by the end of the year. And the fact that we have had to wait this long to get things, we were not expecting to still be negotiating things with the seller at this point. We were expecting inspection, good, like no problems. So we've gotten delayed on that. And just the fact that there's going to be more vacancies than we planned on. We wouldn't get as good of a loan if we were to do a regular commercial loan. We'd have to come to the table with a lot more money down to hit the DSCR, just with the way the property is. So a bridge loan it will cost us more, because it's going to be a higher interest rate and we're going to have to refinance out of it. But it will give us potential to get better financing within 12 months. So without the prepayment penalty, we will be able to refi as soon as for me, it's going to be as we're going through the rehabs and getting things stabilized. Once we're looking like we're within probably a month or two of being done and getting everything stabilized, I'm going to start the loan process of looking for a loan. So August, September will be when I start to shop for a mortgage, because we'll have to be out of the bridge loan by the end of next year. So by the end of December of 2025, I want to give myself 2, 3 months, 4 months to make sure we can find a good lender and not have to be rushed to close on it and start that process. So the biggest risk that we have on our property, so when we look at numbers and I'm looking, okay, rents, they could be $1,650 up to $1,850. How does it look if they're at $1,650? How does it look if they're at $1,850? What do we need to be factoring in for vacancy and CapEx? What is our operating costs going to be? So all of these things factoring in. But with the refinance, that is that's going to make a big difference on what the current market is. And obviously there's no way for us to know. I mean, with the new, the presidency change and things like that, you can watch all the videos. Most people seem to think that interest rates are going to stay steady. They don't think that because the expectation is that the next president is going to be an inflationary president. They're not expecting to drop rates, but then you talk to or listen to other podcasts and they are going to drop rates. So who knows what it's going to be. I'm kind of like, what's kind of all the middle ground of this? Interest rates will probably be close to what they are now. That's what we're hoping. Even if they are higher, what does that look like? So that's the other thing. It's like, okay, I can get an interest rate now for 6.25. What if they go up and I'm at 7.5? How does that look? And then if it's a 20 or 25 or 30-year amortization, that'll change my payment. And then just evaluation of the asset. So if we can get this up and we can get these rents on the higher end, we can get them between $1,750 to $1,850 for majority of the units. So there's 12 3-bedrooms and 6 2-bedroom units. So a few of the 2-bedroom are already at what I have it underwritten at $1,400. They're already at that. They're pretty new leases. One of them, the woman hasn't even fully moved in yet. She just signed a lease. The other one moved in a few months ago. Those are 2 of the nicest units as well. So we know the 2 bedrooms are good. The 3 bedrooms, there are already people in the 1700s, 1800 and above. So we know that it's possible, which is why we're not too concerned. But if our best case scenario is we're going to have all of the units rented, all the 2 bedrooms at $1,400 or above, all of the 3 bedrooms will be rented at $1,750 to $1,800 and above. And if we can get that, then our NOI will be much obviously better because you're going to have higher rents. And our property valuation will be higher. So if we can get a good property valuation and get the property valuation high enough where we can do a refinance and get a lot of our capital back. So obviously if we were to refinance at what we paid for and just get our, really nothing back, if we were to do the same that we bought it for, then obviously our payment's going to be lower than if the value of this goes from 1.7 to 2.2 now, what does that look like? Can we get some of our capital back? How much more of our capital? Our loan will be a higher loan, so it's going to be a larger payment, so we're going to have less cash flow. But the upside is we'll have more capital in our pocket. So it's going to be just a balance of, okay, where's the property at? Do we want to max this out and take out as much money as we can and get as large of a loan as we can? Obviously, it has to hit the DSCR 1.25 or better. I can't see that changing. So we'll obviously have that as one requirement for the banking. But if we can max out and take 70%, 75% loan to value, and that still hits the 1.25, do we want to do that to get our capital back and have less cash flow? Or do we want to leave some money in the deal and have more cash flow? What does the return on that look like? And do we feel that return is a great return? And you're just like, what, actually, I'd rather leave some money in this deal because it's a really good return. Or, this is about the same return that I could get on other things. And I'd rather get that money and be able to go buy another asset that will just increase our, the assets that we have, our overall equity and wealth. So that'll be the things on the exit that we look at. So right now that we know that it's a go forward, it's just really crunching those final numbers, making sure everything is still as expected, because we've, with the due diligence, gotten updated numbers on things. So insurance is the last thing we're still waiting on. I've gotten one quote so far that is right around where I had it underwritten, slightly less than what I had it at. So that's good. There's, I think, 4 or 5 other insurance companies that I'm waiting on quotes from. So that's the last number that we're waiting on, but our first one is within where I have it underwritten, so that's good. But yeah, so today was a lot of back and forth with our agents, and last night I texted them, I said, all right, this is just starting, like, it's just getting to the nitpicky shit, and I just want to be done. Like, they're not going to budge on some of the bigger stuff that we feel they should. So let's just send the list of repairs that we want and just move on and just get the deal done. So, so we got that. And then there was a few things today of just little things, just finalizing on specific units and just wording and verbiage and things like that we want in the contract. So that was today. I've also talked to a lot of, once we knew that it was a go, it was following back up with a lot of the insurance companies, because it's one of those things like you want to be active and finding the lender and finding the insurance. But then when it seemed like, okay, there's a chance this might not go through, I wasn't as gung-ho with things for the last few days, not knowing if they were going to give any concessions. So once we realized, okay, they'll give enough concessions where it'll still work, I'm kind of like, screw you guys for your major bait and switch and not as advertised. But the deal should still work. It still has the potential. It's risky, but we're willing to take the risk because I'm not too worried about our worst case, and best case, it could be a really great cash flowing deal, or lower cash flow, but we get all of our capital back, and now we have another, $700,000-$800,000 to deploy on to another asset. So today was reaching back out to the insurance people, and a lot of the insurance companies also wanted the inspection report, and we just were getting those back in the last week too. So reaching back out to all the insurance companies, following back up with a few lenders that are like the final on our list, which I'm about 95% sure I know which lender I'm going to go with, because he has the best bridge financing options. And when it comes to refi, he also had one of the best options for like the initial purchase. And from the very beginning, because I told him our most important thing is closing on time. And from the very beginning conversations with him, he had said, like, here's our loans. He goes, but just to let you know, for some reassurance, your worst case scenario with us, he goes, we do in-house bridge loans. We can close this in less than a week. So if heaven forbid something happens and we go with normal financing and we get to mid-December and I'm looking and I'm going, you know what, this is not going to close. We're not going to be able to do this. We can pivot, do bridge financing to get it closed by year end, and then keep continuing with the normal financing. Not ideal. You'd have to pay for 2 closings, but it would get done and it would still be worth it. Now with the whole not as advertised and the condition of it and the vacant units and stuff, the bridge financing is just going to be a better option. They're going to be able to do construction as well. So I sent them today what our rehab estimate is, the timeline of it, and just kind of here's our like unit by unit, what month we think we'd be rehabbing, and looking to do a construction loan of a couple $100,000 on that. So that's another thing, is now instead of us paying the couple $100,000 out of pocket, doing the bridge loan with the construction, we'll be able to use the construction loan for that, as opposed, and granted, we were only planning on maybe like less than 100,000 over the first like 12 to 18 months. And now it's going to be probably 200,000 in the first 6 months. So the bridge loan will definitely be beneficial. Having that construction loan aspect as well is going to be really good, so we can keep more capital in our pocket. So if something else comes up, or just to have as savings and backup, we'll have that. And then when we refinance, it'll be obviously paying off the bridge loan, the construction portion, and then any capital that we can get back. So tomorrow we should have some final things from the lending. Hopefully we'll get some more insurance. Tomorrow's Friday. Okay. Get some more insurance quotes and just really start, just get this done, get this closed. I do want to close at the end of December. We could close sooner, I think, but I still want to close the end of December, because with the holidays, I don't want to close the beginning of December and just have several weeks of us trying to do things over the holidays and start to get things rehabbed. I don't want to do that. So I'm working with the lender and seeing, okay, can we close like right after Christmas? And then that way we can kind of hit the ground running right after the new year. More than likely, John and I will fly out there for the beginning of January. And I'll probably go out there for maybe a week. John will probably stay out there for a couple weeks. We'll see. I don't know if we'll just buy one-way tickets and go from there or what. My guess is I'll probably book my flight home. I have obligations that I have to be back in Utah for, but John we'll see, we might just end up doing a one-way ticket for him, and then he can buy his flight back once we see how things are going, because we want to make sure that the first few units that are rehabbed and turned we're there for, and they know what we're looking for, the level that we're looking for of finishes and quality and things like that. So if we can go out there and work with a contractor in the first few units and just make sure they understand what we're looking for and get all that stuff straightened out, then we can just say, okay, this is our expectation. This is what we want all of the units to look like when you're rehabbing them. And then when they're doing the other ones, when we're not there, they know exactly what to do and what we want. So that's our plan. So we're excited. We're glad that it's going through. I kind of had to take the emotions out of it because I was just in the very like, F you people for your bait and switch and not as advertised. But I had to just kind of take a step back and emotions removed. Just look at the numbers. Is this still a good deal? If we knew these things going into it, and we knew that the rehab would be this much, and we knew that this would be the situation, would we still have gone through and made an offer and bought it? And obviously the ultimate answer to that was yes. We still would have done it. Where, we're not happy with the seller. We're not happy with how the deal went down, just because it was very misleading. The units are not well maintained. You cannot raise rents to market rents in as-is condition. Definitely not. They've got 6 tenants that they're trying to get out, 3 units that are vacant. So there's a lot of things that had come up that I've discussed in prior videos that were not disclosed until we flew out there, were under contract, and after we did the inspection and walked through all the units and saw how crappy they were. So luckily the property itself is solid. The buildings are solid. They're nice brick buildings. One of the boilers is brand new. They have window AC units where we're looking at some options for just down the road of, is it worth converting the whole building to electric heat and get rid of the boilers? Then that would also put that cost on the tenants, so they have control over how much they spend and how much in their heat, and not have it be a boiler where that's on us. Do we do mini splits? So there's options that we will look into as well. But right now, like overall, it's all cosmetic. The few safety things, but the majority of the cost is the roof that needs to be fixed, and then the cosmetic with the kitchens and painting. So once we just looked at the numbers and we're like, okay, what's our worst case scenario? Worst case, everything goes to shit. We don't get things rented for what we expect. We're renting them at $1,600, $1,650. And when we go to refinance, interest rates are 7.5%. We can only get a 25-year amortization. We can't get our capital back. And it's like, okay, if we end up being in a situation where shit, we might be like breaking even or losing a little bit of money. I can't imagine that being the result, but that could be our worst case. It's like the property we could still sell it. We may not make any money. We could potentially lose a little bit of money, but I don't see us having any drastic situation where we could lose a ton of money or be in a situation where it's like, oh shit, we are hundreds of thousands of dollars lost on this deal. The odds of that are very, very slim. I think our worst case is all the rents are low. We have super crappy financing when it comes to refinance in a year, and we might be at break even or maybe slightly below. And then it's just deciding, okay, what could we sell this for? Would we rather keep it, or would we rather sell it, be done, and move on to the next one? So, but that's all things that'll be a year from now once the rehab is done. But in the meantime, we'll just continue getting quotes from insurance and moving forward with the lender. I sent him a bunch of stuff today, as I had said. So that is where we are at. If you're looking to buy an apartment building, these are the things that could come up. You can go and walk a property and be looking around going, am I in the right property? Because from what you sent me and what you told me, these are two very different things. So there's always things that come up. I think every deal we've done, there's always been something unexpected that has come up, that has happened. You have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to adjust and figure out, take the emotions out of it and just look at the numbers. Does the deal make sense? Is it still a deal we want to do? There are other deals that we could do in the area that we looked at, and they're more guarantee, but there's not much upside. Yes, we could buy them and, have a decent return, but not much upside. We wouldn't be able to get any capital back, and the odds of them cash flowing as much as the one we're under contract on has the potential for is a ways away. So for us, it's like we're younger, we're willing to take that risk. We're still looking to grow. If I was, older and not looking to be doing these, riskier deals, and I'm like, I just want to put my capital somewhere that I know is just going to get me a nice steady return, the property will slowly go up in value, all the normal stuff, then that there are a couple properties that would be a good option. But we'd rather take the risk of, all right, this is what we do. We got this crap property now. Let's get it updated. Let's get it rehabbed. Let's get it stabilized, clean out the tenants, get good tenants in there. The 4 or 5 tenants that will probably stay. My light just went out. The 4 or 5 tenants that are probably going to stay will be very happy that we've got good tenants in there. So that is our plan and our go forward. So continue to keep you updated. But yeah, if you're looking to buy stuff, just know stuff pops up. If you're looking to invest passively, if you're talking to operators who don't tell you that thing, if they say that everything will be fine, everything goes well. No, there's always going to be something that goes wrong. There's always going to be something that unexpected happens. So make sure, if you are talking to operators and you're asking them, hey, like, what deals have you done where something has gone wrong? And if they don't respond with, oh, that would be almost every deal, or, oh, I definitely have some examples. If they're like, no, nothing's ever gone wrong, everything always goes well, I'd be very hesitant to invest with that operator. So make sure that they're looking at, here's best case, here's worst case, and somewhere in between is where we hope to fall, or on the closer to the best case. So just make sure you're asking questions and you're making sure that you're comfortable with the operator, you understand, or at least they're very confident with the business plan, you're comfortable with it, what they plan to do, the risks and things like that. So if there's anything that I've discussed up till now that you want more information on or more detail on, please put it in the comments below. Shoot me a message. If there's something that you want me to discuss that I haven't, then definitely let me know. I'll get more into the numbers, like once we actually know what they're going to be, which will be closer to closing. Then I'll share that, like, here's what they're looking like they're going to be. Once we close, once we have our lending decided, I'll kind of go over that. And then, I'll be sharing on this project for as long as definitely the first year. So, this was originally just from offer to ownership, and wasn't expecting that it's going to be probably a 9 to 12 month story that I end up doing, because we weren't expecting to have to do so much rehab. So I'll definitely keep updated. So the numbers, I'll definitely share more of them. But if there's something specific you want me to talk about that I haven't, or go into more detail, definitely let me know. I'm doing this video because I wish that I had somebody sharing the detailed information of what it's like to buy a property, with the processes. So when I do these videos, I'm thinking in my head, okay, what are the things that I wanted to know when I was getting started? Or when I'm looking at a deal to invest in passively, what are the things that I want my operator paying attention to? What are the things that I want to make sure that my operator is doing, that they're stress testing, that they're looking at the best and worst case scenarios? So I look at this as like, how would I look at it, and what information would I want to know? So anything that I've maybe not said, or you want more detail on, again, just shoot me a comment, shoot me a DM, make a comment, whatever you'd like to do. And yeah, anyone that you know that would find this useful, please share it with them, and please subscribe. I'll be doing these videos a few a week to keep everyone updated on this deal and let everyone know how it's going. So thank you for watching, and the next video will be in a few days.